Now this was another episode of Arrow that was really good. One of the better episodes in recent weeks. Okay, so basically it picks up immediately after where the last episode left off, namely when just after Thea was stabbed by Ra's al Ghul in her loft. Oliver finds her there on the brink of death. He brings her immediately to the hospital. The doctors do all they can. Excuse me. The doctors do all they can, but she's basically on the brink of death, and she's probably not going to recover. In fact, she is most likely not going to recover. In fact, they recommend, you should probably think about pulling the plug. So Oliver is completely devastated. This marks yet another loss in the long, sad history of Oliver Queen back in Starling City. And basically, Maceo says, "You can still save her. All you have to do is join the League of Assassins. Like, come over, Oliver, come here, join the League of Assassins." So Oliver does. He doesn't feel like he has a choice at this point. So he brings her to Nanda Parbat, and they have her take a dip in the old Lazarus pit. And she comes out, and Malcolm actually warns, the Thea who comes out of the Lazarus pit will not be the same Thea that you lost. And he looks devastated. He's you can see written plain on his face, Thea to me is probably already dead. Pretty well acted. The acting all around in this episode was pretty good. In fact, better than usual for this show. And the Oliver basically has to accept that he is going to join the League of Assassins and become the next Ra's al Ghul. Okay. Now, very little of this episode actually did not work. Most of the stuff in this episode had me on the edge of my seat. Now, first of all, the drama. The drama was just so strong in this episode, and it was coupled with a very somber tone. The tone was very grim, as it should be. I mean, it's dealing not only with the potential death of a main character since season 1, but in addition, Oliver is really faced with this choice or this ultimatum about changing his life forever, just forsaking any identity as Oliver Queen and becoming this assassin, and essentially not being able to turn back ever. And really really strong stuff seeing him grapple with that. And again, really well acted by Stephen Amell. This is one of his best performances of the season, honestly. In fact, it was a particular highlight for a lot of actors this season because John Barrowman's really good, Matt Nable's really good, Emily Bett Rickards, David Ramsey, Carl Yoon. I mean, all of this episode marks acting highlights for all of them in this particular season. So, so yeah, I like the somber tone. I liked how the entire episode took place in Nanda Parbat, pretty much. I mean, it was really a character-driven episode, more so than a lot of the other episodes. It was dealing with the characters potentially having to say goodbye or likely having to say goodbye forever. And and again, for the first half of the episode, I really liked the build up to the actual Lazarus Pit. How Oliver was basically charging forth gung-ho saying, we have to do this. It's our only chance. And Malcolm was saying, I don't know about this. I mean, the Thea that comes out is not going to be the Thea that went in. I mean, she will emerge a changed person. I mean, you won't be able to recognize her, blah, blah, blah. I actually thought that was really well handled in terms of the build-up. However, this actually leads to one of the few aspects of this episode that did not work, which is the actual Lazarus Pit scene, or at least the aftermath. The whole changed person was just so disappointing. When I think of someone who comes out of the Lazarus Pit, I expect them to come out crazy, bug-eyed, and just completely unrecognizable. Or, like Ra's al Ghul does a lot of the time. Like if you think back to Batman the Animated Series, or what was that crossover that they did with Superman the Animated Series that involved Ra's al Ghul? I forget the title of the episode, but Ra's al Ghul took a dip in the in the Lazarus Pit several times over the course of that series, and each time he came out, he came out even crazier than the last time. So it's this real state of it's this real frenzied state, and I actually think that's what makes it so interesting and could have made for an interesting, almost horror aspect of the show. But and even if they didn't want to go all the way with the whole crazy wild eyed aspect of it, it would have actually been kind of cool if they added a little bit of ambiguity as to, is this person the same as they were, or are they different. Granted, that could be where they're going from here, given how at the end of the episode Thea seemingly returns to the way she was before. But what I mean by ambiguity is in the movie Batman Under the Red Hood, Batman goes to the resurrected Jason Todd and basically says, I know what happened to you. I know about how Ra's al Ghul tried to bring you back. And Jason Todd says, "Oh, well, what is easier for you to believe? I mean, is it easier for you to believe that the Lazarus Pit made me crazy, or is this just the way I always was? And it's only now coming to the surface." So that little bit of ambiguity, I think, would have made this interesting. And again, that could be where they're going from here, but I think it's too early to tell. As it stands, I'm judging this as a self-contained portrayal of the aftermath of the Lazarus Pit. It was pretty disappointing because basically all she did was, frenzy around for a little bit, then they tranquilize her, and then she just wakes up a little confused. She doesn't recognize Oliver. She thinks Malcolm is her loving father. But then at the end of the episode, after she went around spaced out for a little bit, she returns to seemingly exactly the way she was before. So maybe they'll do more with it, but as it stands, it was kind of disappointing. But really, that was Owen's. Owen, in addition, the flashbacks didn't really connect all that much to what was going on in the present day, and I think it really could have. I think if they really tackled the issue of Maceo's humanity and why is he helping Oliver at the risk of potentially endangering his own family, and if they actually determined, it's his own humanity, it's his own conscience that's forcing him to do that to help Oliver stop General Shreve, then I actually think it would have really connected it thematically well to present day, where Maceo actually helps them escape through the catacombs. So yeah, the flashback scenes really didn't connect all that well to what was going on in present day, thematically or narratively. But aside from that, everything in Nanda Parbat, Oliver and Felicity coming, really having one last hurrah, as it were, because Ra's says to Felicity, go to him. Get everything off your chest. Tell him how you feel. Say goodbye, which is something that I never got to do. And that those scenes I actually thought were really strong. And the scene that Diggle has with Maceo about how Diggle basically says, when I look at the League of Assassins, all I see are cowards hiding from their own identities. So basically everything at Nanda Parbat was really strong. So yeah, I really like this episode overall. Again, I wish the actual Lazarus Pit they had taken a little bit more risks with that, at least in this episode. Again, no telling where they're going to go with any further after effects. But in conclusion, really, really somber episode, and really, really effective because of it, especially given the ending, how Oliver basically resigns to the fact that he's become a member of the League of Shadows, or the League of Assassins, whatever you want to call them. He becomes a member, he dresses up in the Black Hood, and he's basically ready to start training. So yeah, I'm very interested to see where they're going to go from here, how Ra's al Ghul says, Oliver Queen, the actual alias Oliver Queen, his whole identity must be completely eradicated. You must become completely devoted to this alter ego that you've carved out for yourself, that has now joined the ranks of the League. So yeah, really good episode. Looking forward to the next one.